Phil, congratulations on getting your icebreaker done.
Thanks.
You actually were a Toastmaster for a meeting prior to giving your first formal speech. That's quite exciting that you're willing to take on that leadership role. Most people come into Toastmasters thinking just about public speaking, but you were willing to take on that role at I believe at Dr. Jim's urging, and you did very well. It seemed to me, though, that you were actually more nervous for your prepared speech than last week when you were Toastmaster. You seemed much more comfortable controlling the meeting, even though it was totally new to you, than it was talking about the thing that you are the most experienced person on in the whole world. But that's okay, because you probably felt there was more pressure on you this time, because it was just all about you instead of maybe focusing on everybody else in the meeting. To start with, your information that you provided was great. You started literally from the date you were born to the current date. And you didn't spend too much time on any one area, because obviously 32 years, roughly, to cover is a lot for 4 to 6 minutes. So you did very, very well. You did have one big jump, though. You went from basically being a little kid to all of a sudden graduating high school. Might have been nice to get a little bit more info, though you did come back to it later on when you talked about your stompers, I believe they were, which I don't know about everybody else. I mean, we gotta see the Super Bowl of stompers, right, when this happens.
Yes,
You do it here at the building. That would be awesome. You used some very good, maybe, choices of words that actually I found very humorous. You talked about dodging a few wrenches, and the first thing that came to mind was if you can dodge a ball, you can dodge a wrench, or if I dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. And your talk about your mother having a dog for a daughter, which I guess that makes her your sister. So your use of humor interjected throughout your story was very, very good. One thing, though, that I noticed, it was right at the beginning, and I don't think you had this problem later on, was you had a couple of maybe hiccups, maybe flubs, and you acknowledged the fact that you made a mistake. And that's one thing you don't want to do. Is one thing I learned very early on was, even if you come ill-prepared to a meeting, don't tell anybody, because chances are they may not find out. So even if you make a mistake, if you say an and ah, or if you totally get off track, don't worry about it. Just ignore that it happened and move right on back. You had some hand gestures also. There was a lot of this going on. Now, I know you talked about having a very varied religious background. So I don't know if that's where this was coming from, was all the praying that you did, and it's very commonplace. But somebody in the club, and I don't remember who it was, made a comment sometime in the last few months that really stuck with me, and I try to do it, although I don't do it very well, is if you're not using it, put it away. It might have been Catherine, but I don't remember. Somebody said if you're not using it, so when it comes to your hands, if you're not using it, put it away. Sometimes the best thing to do is nothing. Silence is golden is sort of a counterpoint to it. But great information. You are a nervous speaker, but the information you provided and the way you provided it was great. So good luck on your next speech.
Thanks, man.